Do you think U.S. investors are right to be ignoring the growing political crisis in the UK? That seems to be their thinking right now.
I think they've been doing it for a while and they've been proven correct, and they're not actually on their own. If you look at the UK equity market, it's underperformed consistently on a global stage since 2016. It's lagged the US terribly. The pound sterling has gone down, so that decision has been proven completely correct. The question now is, what will change that? In the short term, it's hard to see anything that will, given we could end up with a general election. We could end up with a scenario the markets don't like, which is a no-deal Brexit. But at the same time, for the long term, UK equities look cheap relative to their own history. They look very cheap relative to bonds, and they're offering a 5% dividend yield. So there are some strong pockets of value now emerging in the UK market. The question is, what will make people want to revisit them? And in the short term, the answer is probably not very much.
Russ, I'm curious, what are some of those pockets of opportunity right now that you see in that market?
And you can. It's tempting to actually start looking at things like utilities. I know there's political risk there because you've got the threat of a left-wing Labour government getting in, even if Prime Minister Johnson gets his general election through. But certain areas like real estate are starting to look a little bit more tempting. Some of the industrial stocks are getting more intriguing as well. And it's generally the domestic stocks that are the most intriguing. Retail, utilities, some of the industrials, and some of the real estate plays. They're the ones that are offering beaten down valuations, stocks that have done terribly badly. And you can just see today, it didn't take an awful lot of hope from investors for maybe a deal of some kind. And the FTSE 250, the domestic focused index, that's popped quite strongly, much more so than the FTSE 100 of the mega cap international names.
Russ, let's play some probabilities here. Let's say there is the hard Brexit. What happens to the broader EU economy? A lot of those economies are arguably in recession right now.
No, if you look at the purchasing managers indices data that's come out of the Europe this week, it's been much worse than out of the United States, with one exception. Greece, intriguingly, is showing its purchasing managers index at a multi-year high. So it's been through a decade of pain and is now hopefully coming out of the other way. But the European leaders, you're quite right, Brian, they will be looking at the EU Brexit situation. They will not want the UK to leave. It's a big trading partner, and they will be getting concerned over the European economy. That's Prime Minister Johnson's bargaining chip. At the moment, though, he doesn't seem to be able to play it as strongly as he thinks he should be able to.
Russ, looking into the future, 6-8 weeks out, what is the fate of Boris Johnson? Is he still Prime Minister?
My guess is yes, actually. If there is a general election, if you look at the opinion polls in the UK, the Tories have got a 35% poll. They would probably ally themselves with Nigel Farage's Brexit party. That takes their poll up to the high 40s. The opposition, Labour, Liberal Democrats, Scottish Nationals, Welsh Nationals, Greens, equally divided as the Tory party. In their view, the Tories may be divided over Brexit. The Remainers are as well in terms of what sort of Remain deal they want. So Boris Johnson may be able to make advantage of that and drive a further wedge between them. So it's by no means certain that he will lose his position as Prime Minister. His party, in the end, it's designed for self-preservation. You would expect to take over.